Hello, Mac10 here again, and today I'm going to be talking about why esports needs to remain united and why, even though I, as a StarCraft player, am supportive of League of Legends and other games, even Call of Duty, Halo, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if the game is the worst game I could have ever possibly imagined. If the game gets big numbers, if the game draws attentions to esports, it is a good thing. Oh, and before I forget, what you're watching in the background is footage from the new Kingdoms of Amalur game, which you already know about if you've watched any major StarCraft stream recently. DJ Wheat, Day9, all the big Total Biscuit, everybody's been playing this game. It's a good game. I lament that it's made by eSports. I'm not a big fan of theirs, but anyway, there you have it. So, moving right along, back on track. The reason that StarCraft 2 players need to support games like League of Legends is because it draws attention to esports as a whole. It's not like soccer versus football. There's football, soccer, baseball, hockey, whatever, and esports. Esports is sort of like its own thing. It's its own sport. It's not different sports competing for an audience. We're all sort of a shared audience. And this is because we're not that big of a scene. We need attention in general to esports as a phenomenon, because where we currently stand, we don't have the numbers for StarCraft fans en masse to say, oh, well, Destiny's playing League of Legends, that's such a bullshit game, I wish he'd go back to playing my game. That can't fly right now. If we do this, if this happens on a big scale, esports as a whole will be in some serious trouble. This is not something that we as a community can let go on for very long. We simply don't have the money, we simply don't have the viewership, we don't have the size, we don't have the force, we don't have the bass in our voice that football does when football says, I want people to watch me over fucking NASCAR. So I really just wanted to rant on that for a bit, and then getting back to the Destiny issue, it's really, when I first saw Destiny, or when I see any of my favorite pro player playing StarCraft 2, and then I see him go to League of Legends, not permanently of course, but just I turn on a stream and he's playing League of Legends that day, my initial gut knee-jerk response is, oh yeah, that's not my game. That's a shitty game. What do I mean by a shitty game? I mean that's not my game. This is something else. I don't play this, it lacks skill. If it were Dota 2, I'm sure I would be watching and enjoying it. And yes, I play StarCraft 2, that is my esport. This is the only game I think that I play that could be considered an esport. And I did play a lot of Warcraft 3, and inadvertently I played a load of the original Dota All-Stars. Dota for Warcraft 3, in my opinion as well, was the all-time height of this type of game. However, this does not discredit League of Legends, even though I don't play it. It shouldn't be this vying for credibility at this point in time. Maybe sometime in the foreseeable future, not even the foreseeable future, but years down the road, we could have this sort of division. But until we fill up a NASCAR or Super Bowl sized stadium with people cheering for an esport, can esports look at each other and say, my dick is bigger than yours? We can't do that yet because we don't have the number, we don't have the force. We need to be somewhat united. I can really relate to my fellow community members when we would look at a StarCraft player stream and see another game there and feel kind of turned off, feel a bad taste in our mouths, just feel like that shouldn't be there and that's not what I tuned in for, so I'm going to take my viewership to another stream now. And it's something that we as a community need to be conscious of in the same way it grants us the immediate gratification of dropping a sexist or racist joke, but has similar long-term complications. And it's something that we cannot do. It's something that we can do now, and of course, I will never say that StarCraft 2 is a superior game to League of Legends, even though it is the only esport I play, and I will admit I've never played League of Legends, but I have to stand up for League of Legends and say this is a game, this is part of esports, this is part of this huge new movement that we need to stand by. And the last thing I want to talk about is something that this caller Kevin on Live on 3 DJ Wheat show Wednesday nights called in and talked about, and that's when do you think the esports bubble will pop? When do you think this bubble will burst? He talked about it as if it were like the housing market in the US, like it's growing, it's growing, it's growing, it's growing, and it's gonna burst, and I'll come to a screeching halt, and we're all gonna be fucked. Everybody's got their livelihood in esports is gonna be screwed, and I want to take a moment to tell you why that is wrong. That is completely incorrect, and why that is not happening now. The first and most obvious sign is that a bubble like this would indicate exponential growth. What do I mean by exponential growth? I mean you're a Master League player that nobody's ever heard of, you can turn on a stream and start making $50,000 a year. That is what a bubble would feel like if we truly were dealing with an esports bubble right now. Next, a bubble has to have mass, and it has to be hollow and pop. Esports hasn't just been, it had a lot more growth proportionally in 2011 and 2010 than it's had ever before in its history, but it wasn't to the point where people are just celebrating, throwing parties, freaking out about it. It's something that is growing at an increased rate, but it's something that's always been growing, and the increased rate of its growth isn't that drastic. It's just something that's been steadily growing for years and years, and is going to continually grow for years and years. And it's something that can continually offer new content with new games to people that don't just stick with a single esport. And the current games that are out there, League of Legends offers like a new hero every other week or something. Correct me if I'm wrong, but League of Legends constantly pumping out new shit. StarCraft is always making new patches. They're making patches pretty often. And you've got Legacy of the Void, and before that, Heart of the Swarm coming out for StarCraft 2. So your two pinnacle esports games are still growing. Anyway, I just want to conclude by saying that the League of Legends controversy, the League of Legends versus StarCraft debate, is something that shouldn't happen because they are inadvertently the same thing. Anyway, thanks for watching.